Alrighty, everyone. Yeah, this track's amazing. I don't feel like I realized how amazing this track is until I listened to it without playing, if that makes sense. Oh man. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. I hope you guys are having an awesome Saturday so far. Gonna get my other commentator in here today. Alright, so today I'm going to be joined by Mini Sabrango. How are you doing today, Mini?
How about you?
Doing well, thank you. Alrighty. I am going to get these racers kicked off, and we're going to get this rolling.
Good. So today we have Tky619 versus SpaceNarc. Two really good runners. It should be a tight race. Let's hope Saber Shadow doesn't do Saber Shadow things. And we'll have a good race, and it should be something tight today. Alright, our runners are getting ready. And we'll be able to start really soon. So, Turkey is presently the world record holder with 54 something as a PB. And SpaceNarc is at 57 something. So, really good times on both sides. And we started. So chapter 0, just getting the hang out of it. We can jump, we can slash, making sure our controller is working. And we're good to go.
And we're all synced up. Turkey playing on PS4, we have to do a little in-the-moment magic to get our racers synced, unlike the PC players. But we're off and running. The tutorial stage is over. You've learned how to jump, you've learned what a switch is, and there's a door.
Yep, just a little elevator, and then the music will start rolling just like the run. So little things that we can do to save time at the beginning. If you jump at the ledge of everything, you have a little spark. Saves you up to 3 frames. So runners will try to do it as much as possible in the beginning. It's maybe not that much, but every frames count, so let's save them. There's a slash here and there. We have a D-boost on that guy because he takes like 8 hits. That's too much. And we have Elgion, our companion, that we won't care for the run, except for maybe slashing if we want to.
That's basically our save or kill the animal situation, really. There's some people that feel it's mean, and then other people just frankly don't care.
Exactly. So everything in chapter 1 is pretty much cycle based. So we'll see it a little bit later, taking the hit in the smoke. We have to be careful. We have to turn around when we want to deboost, so Shadow will go on the side that we want. If he always go backwards. So if we look behind, he'll go in the front, and that's what we want him to do. I say most of the time, or I think all the time when we deboost. And we're coming to our first mid-boss, Smasher. Smasher, I heard if you're under him, it kills you. Never happened. Let's bless that it won't happen never for me. But that's what I heard.
I legit did not know that until we started this tournament and someone mentioned it. I was like, oh. I was like, that's actually, it's never happened. Let's hope we don't see it in the tournament. Could you imagine? That would just be sad. I would feel so bad for that person.
Exactly. So we're coming in the first big room. Everything is on the same cycle. So you want to go at the same pace every time so you can get the cycle that you want. It's going pretty good on either side. They should go for the first cycle on the big round thing that turns around. It's good for Turkey. It's good for SpaceNarc. There's rust fly everywhere. That's bad, but we can manage them. On Turkey side, we may see more Rustfly because he's on PS4, so he's still on the 101 patch. It's the 104 patch. When will it come? When it will come, everyone should be on the same on the same version, and SpaceNarc took a death here. He wanted to go up, didn't work as intended, and fell in the hole. So we have a little lead from Turkey right now.
We saw an example earlier that Turkey got a ledge grab early on when trying to make that platform cycle there, and just another one by SpaceNarc going up, and then unfortunately fell immediately after. But you'll see our runners obviously both here playing on 60 FPS and able to do these ledge grabs. Here we have Apparator, who is quite simple. You stand in front, you take a couple damage boosts, and you maximize your slashes. You get as much damage as possible, and then you try and do it exactly like that. That was very clean, very nice spacing on the slashes. Didn't even really have to clip the toe, kind of got the last slash just as Apparator was reaching the peak there.
Exactly. Ideally, you want to kill him before he gets up, because either you have to be really precise to get your last hit or your last hits. If he gets high, it's doable, but like that, just like SpaceNarc did, it's doable. We saw it, but it's harder than just slashing it before it goes up. And now we have a Shuriken. So Shurikens take SP. So start of the managing of SP, not that big of a management at the start. It's more difficult to manage it when you have the dash later. But you want to make sure you have SP if you want to throw your Shurikens. Turkey decided to go without an SP upgrade. We'll see if SpaceNarc goes for the upgrade to be at 5 or 6 SP for the rest of the run. That's the only SP upgrade that we take if someone takes it, and SpaceNarc goes for it.
Yeah, it's really just a few seconds invested for that little extra wiggle room. It kind of has a little bit of a negative in the Mecha Dragon fight later when you're trying to like cap out your SP, for example. But it's not really that big of a detriment at all. It's strictly preference, and at the cost of a few seconds, you know, 1 extra SP for the remainder of the duration of what is almost an hour-long run. You know, hoping both these runners come in sub-hour. But for the remaining duration of that time, you might as well pick up that SP upgrade for the cost of a few seconds if you want that wiggle room.
Yes, and Turkey is now on Laser Brain. He'll do it so fast that Laser Brain doesn't know what to do, so we won't see any attack from his side. He's destroyed, and he'll continue his way. As we see, SpaceNarc is doing the laser skip. So he took a D-boost before the laser, so he can go through it, and he's going to Laser Brain as well, getting the blade extend. It makes that you can reach it easier. The eye of Laser Brain is his weak point, so it makes 2 damage instead of 1. When 1 block has been destroyed, it will be a little bit longer, and now he can finish it.
Definitely not the worst case scenario. Tried to take the damage boost to prevent that block from being destroyed, but unfortunately couldn't block all of the shots. And yeah, just had to work off of the left block until the center one spawned to make it a little bit easier. Laser Brain has a weak point where if you hit the core, you do a little extra damage, but yeah, that boss goes down pretty easily.
We are in our first auto scroll, so the elevator. Maybe we can see it here. Turkey has a little bit more rust fly in the elevator. I think there's some lasers that are still there and are destroyed in the SpaceNarc version, but it's really a small difference. I think, well, we see it. Turkey went by, but you get used to it, so there's no problem. It's a fun adjustment when you're on the more recent version. But for the time that Turkey is playing, there should be no problem with these little bit more enemies.
It really only comes into play after you've learned the elevator if you are doing something like an all feats run, or if you're just casually going for the feat where you don't destroy the rust fly or any of the rust flies on the way up, because that's the thing. So yeah. The old patch is a little more tricky for that.
as we see our next boss, the Scrambler. So nothing pretty straightforward as a boss. You slash in, and sometimes he'll explodes. You still slash him. There's a smaller Scrambler, so you slash him, and then there's our even smaller Scrambler. You can let it go because you can slash this guy.
It would be pretty
And
funny if you could slash the face and then like the legs come off or something.
I think we all tried to hit the smaller Scrambler when we played, but it's pretty sure everybody said, "Oh shit, another phase," but no, he just escapes.
Fun fact about that fight too, when we discovered this when there was some task work being done on the game fairly early on actually, the smaller Scrambler forms actually hide out in the following room on the right where you break the capsule and free the ninja when they aren't actively in this fight. So when the biggest form is there, the smaller guy and the face are in the room to the right, and then when you activate the second form, the face is still in the room to the right, and then eventually it's gone. So fun fact for everyone.
That's always good to know. Now we're going into the deboost train. Turkey will do some deboost on these enemies. They took 5 hits each, so faster to deboost. You see some ledge here. So deboosting. If you do your cycle like you want, you'll know when the little green bubble will appear, so you can expect them. If you make a small mistake, it can be a little bit trickier because you won't necessarily know when these bubbles appear, and they do a lot of damage early on the run. So you want to do your cycle as much precise as possible.
Turkey right now looking comfy, and I'm sure I'll regret saying that in about 10 seconds, but so far moving along at a good pace. I saw another ledge kick there a moment ago, had a couple damage boosts in the section earlier, and really just, looking comfortable with the low health. Movement's been clean so far. SpaceNarc only had the one slip up early on, which can happen to anybody, and of course could be race nerves. And yeah, both of our runners really kind of settling in and looking good.
Yeah, that can be really a big time cost. Usually, I say it's like 30 seconds every death. So depending where it is, chapter 4 sometimes are larger than 30 seconds. Sometimes you die just after the checkpoint, but from my runs, usually it's just before the checkpoint and not just after. But death can be costly, so nothing is done for now. We hope our runners won't have any more death, but you want a closer race, we might want some, but I won't be the one telling it. And we have the tank right here that is done on Turkey side.
I always feel like too, like when you're right before a checkpoint, especially like when you know it's upcoming and things are scary, or even in some of the cases like in chapter 7 when you have a visible checkpoint on the other side of the destructible wall, the heart just starts going, like it just starts pounding. You're like, oh my god, don't die right here.
I just won't have HP. What have I done? The checkpoint is just there, and now it's far away. As SpaceNarc is going to the tank, making sure projectiles are not a big deal. Oh, Turkey missed his snipe up there. So we have to manage these two blue guys.
Oh.
And that guy wasn't nice.
Well, you mentioned close race, and yeah, this is pretty much it now.
I don't think we can have a closer race as of now. As SpaceNarc just escaped from this fireball, can be dangerous. The cycle is not always like you want. Sometimes you have to deboost, sometimes you take a little bit of time, but it was well managed on this fireball.
And those projectiles are scary. Like, if you're especially used to getting that shuriken strat, which is kind of deceptively difficult, it can either bonk the ledge or be too low. Looks good that time. The falling projectiles, especially if you don't take it safe and you try and aggro it like Turkey did, can be really dangerous. Had the right idea with the turnaround to try and go the opposite direction with the damage boost. Don't believe he would have had a different fate if he didn't turn around, because I think he was already too far out to damage back to the ledge he just jumped off of. But yeah, that's kind of the risk you take if you miss that and you decide that you're gonna try and non-stop it.
Exactly. And we'll see some more shurikens to get that switch before getting to it. So Turkey and SpaceNarc destroy the lamp and gets the switch with those shurikens. Some little platforming and we'll be to our next boss, the Biohunter. Some ledge boost as well. So as we get to Biohunter, we'll get some Swag Blade, this sea blade on a cord. It swings everywhere, but we can control it if we manage. We can manage to control it. Not easy at first, but both our runners know what they're doing, so this Swag Blade is going exactly where they want to go. As they do as much damage as possible. On the first phase of Biohunter, he goes down. Turkey defeats it in the middle. Perfect. On the right for SpaceNarc, not a big difference. So both our runners get the airstrike, and we call it the Pogo. Really useful. We'll see it right here at the beginning. Destroying really fast. You can go fast if you press down twice with the Pogo. We see in some places to go faster when we have to drop down. That's what we see here. As we're going into the monkey, but before, let's just see if both our runners can get the bomb to explode before. Turkey had to slash it. We got it, and SpaceNarc control his Swag Blade perfectly, so don't need to stop the dynamite explode.
Turkey's going to have to contend with the fact that he is on PS4 and has that earlier patch here, because Mecha was very nice and knew that we were taking the Swag Blade into this trial and made it so the Swag Blade didn't destroy the lanterns here. Still destroys the crates, but not the lanterns. So Turkey has to work a little extra hard to make sure that it doesn't impact his climb. I believe, I haven't checked in a little while, but I'm 99% sure that SpaceNarc is on PC and doesn't have that same issue because that was patched out.
Exactly. But it's well done on each side, and SpaceNarc with a little fire swing. And we confirm in the chat that SpaceNarc is indeed on PC version.
Thank you, Brain. And thank you, chat.
Chapter 4. That's where sometimes it gets really bad. If I look at my runs, usually that's the early chapter that can be some problem. So enemies are still hitting hard. Most of them 2 HP. We don't have a lot of HP yet. We don't have the parry. We don't have all our tools. So it can be sad pretty fast if we don't do it like we want. And sometimes we want to do it, but Cyber Shadow doesn't want to do it like we want. So it can get pretty hard pretty fast. So let's hope both our runners will do well in this chapter, and let's not forget the boss of the chapter. That is quite the thing, if I can say.
Stage 4 is wonderful because it gives us the surprise that unlike some old school side scrollers and whatnot, you don't die when you fall in the water because your character can swim. The downside is it also greets us with a whole bunch of insta-death spikes. So Chapter 4, it's like, yay, water doesn't kill us, but all of these spikes do.
Yeah, spikes, electricity, shooting guys, everything is in this chapter. Everything, including the cyber rooms. We have one cyber room, so it's a room where you can go on a parallel world. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but Turkey is in right now. He gets the switch to open the door. Once the door is open in this world, it is as well in the real world. But we don't need to destroy this room. We can just escape it, and everything is good. As both our runners only took the right switch, and they continue with a really close race, and it's really fun to watch.
Neither runner looks like they're going for what's been dubbed the nutter skip with these platforms, both of them taking the old cycle, which is fine. It's only a difference of a few seconds. I think it's like 3 or 4 seconds or something different. But it is dangerous, and it involves also taking a damage boost in addition to being just dangerous in regards to those spikes. So there's no shame in opting out of that one.
Yeah, especially in a race. Maybe if you go for PB, you may want to go for it, but in a race, it can be really costly if you die right there. Checkpoint is still really far, so like you said, no shame of not taking this routing.
Turkey making this cycle.
Yep, to drop pretty fast. We'll see if SpaceNarc is doing it. Oh no. He have to go by a little detour.
At least knowing where he was, he opted out. Took a little damage in the process, unfortunately, and of course had to then also wait, but was the right idea not making that play, because had he gone for that strat, I'm pretty sure he would have got damage boosted right back into those spikes, do that small amount of lost time.
Exactly, and the crate was, since he was 4 HP or less, it's a automatic HP, so he could take it back. The uplander right here is also HP. Could have refilled, but the checkpoint is just right there, so it should be alright. These rooms, especially the one that Turkey is right now, sometimes it goes so well, but sometimes it can go so bad. It's crazy. Almost all the rooms in Chapter 4 are make it or break it, especially those little jellyfish. They're not exactly at the same place every time, so sometimes they are right where you want them to be. Sometimes you have to manage with them. So
we're gonna see what kind of Mecha Dragon that Turkey's gonna have in a moment. 3 cycle is kind of the standard, what you're hoping and looking for. 2 cycle is amazing and very rare. 4 cycle is no shame because Mecha Dragon can happen.
Exactly, and Turkey took the gun, so a little bit more damage on the initial hit. But if you want to have full SP, you have to use your gun, so it's a SP versus the gun management as well.
Wow.
And he's going for a 2 cycle. That's awesome.
So a couple things that he did really well in that fight. He farmed a ton of SP with a single gunshot, allowing his gun to charge by dropping down into the water and shooting along the top of all the platforms that were already existing there and farming the SP off the top of that. Really, really nicely done. Let's see what happens on SpaceNarc's side.
That's good for now. Cycle down. Dragon making everything explodes. Oh, and that's a bad placement for the Mecha Dragon. There was no platform, no way to hit him where he was.
He just doesn't want to take damage, knowing that right now taking damage means redoing this whole fight. So it's unfortunate, but taking the extra cycles is the better and safer play compared to trying to do something risky. Should be it here. There we go.
Yeah, it will be a 5 cycle, but still faster than taking a death anywhere in the versus the boss. So the Mecha Dragon wasn't pleasant on his side, but it's in the past. Now we can focus on something else. You can do anything about the past, so let's bring it on. And the crystal, like we saw on Turkey's side, so you slash it. There's some ninja coming out of it. You want to kill the ninjas before they get on the ground or they get in defensive position. So it might be harder to get them. So let's hope to have a good cycle on this part as well, because they're random as well. So not exactly the same place each time. And these ninja are defending right now. Alright, it's done.
Yeah, they gave SpaceNarc the business.
Yeah, Mecha Dragon and the Crystal just after. He's getting his run for. And Vessel Defense is done on Turkey's side. He kept the gun from Mecha Dragon, so he'll go for the Chapter 5 skips with a 3 health gun. I think SpaceNarc will go for the shield versus this boss. Both sub-weapons are good for the skips. A little bit more offensive on the gun side, but the shield side makes you open the doors faster, especially for the second skip where you don't have to fight a boss and keeping that weapon. You can make the skip available and lose it during the boss, no worries. As with the gun, you have to keep it all the way for Alpha 2. I think he'll go, especially with 1 HP on his gun, he'll probably go with the shield. Exactly. As we see Turkey going through Chapter 5, 1 hit on the gun, still 2 HP left.
Yeah, took that hit fairly early on. I think I didn't see clearly, might have taken that hit during the fast fall. I think he almost like went through one of the wall turrets instead of destroying it or something. I don't know why, if that was just something that occurred as a result of the fast fall physics and how that works. SpaceNarc finishing Vessel Defense with 1 hit left on the shield, so going to be an all or nothing, where Turkey still has a little bit of that leeway.
Exactly. Usually the first skip is really doable for this level of players. The second skip might be a little bit harder since you have to fight Alpha 1. We'll see how they manage it, but I'm pretty confident for this first skip for both of them. Chapter 5 begins for SpaceNarc, as Turkey has only a little bit of a room before the first skip.
I guess one thing we don't mention often too, sorry to cut you off there, the one thing we also don't mention often is the difference in parries between patches, because Turkey is on the old patch being a console player. You actually cannot parry when you're in iframes on older patches. And I think that's something I don't even know if we've mentioned that any race up until now. But that's kind of a big deal, because sometimes when you get hit, your first response is to then try and like parry the next shot in like a triple spray of bullets or something like that. And it doesn't happen, and it doesn't work on old patch. So you just end up taking another hit immediately when you become vulnerable again, because the other shot is then in your hitbox. It can be dangerous, and it can definitely be bad if you have a panic response. But that's another big difference with the ability that he just got.
Exactly, and I think we see a little blue orb when you parry. It's in the newer version as well, so you can see where your parries limits are.
Yeah,
it's like not there in the first one. SpaceNarc ending his journey before the first skip, he'll be able to do it as well. as he hits the switch from far, and just after the switch, he loses his shield. So no second skip on SpaceNarc side. As Turkey takes Alpha 1 really quickly, some parries, some slashes, a perfect Alpha 1 on Turkey's side.
Yeah, most of that damage came from parried strikes. Basically, if you're comfortable enough, you can stand in the spot where the shots are going to spawn, and you can essentially tap at the right time as they're spawning and parry them immediately. Very nicely done. And still carrying that gun confidently, only taking that one hit at the very start. Getting chased by Orby.
Yeah, the Orby, the Stalker, and he'll stay there. Should be fine for now. No more Stalker. As he's going for Alpha 2. Like I said just before, if he had the shield, he could have shot there, get the switch open. But you have to get through Alpha 2 with the gun if you want to skip. It's something like 12 seconds faster if you get the switch. Many slashes, ends up with Pogo. It should be one last hit. It's done with the last parry. Almost a one cycle on Alpha 2. Really good. SpaceNarc took a dispenser. And he's on Alpha 1. Nice parries. Took one hit at the last bullet from Alpha 1, but a really great fight on his side.
One thing to note too, because SpaceNarc also picked up the E field and now has opted into the SP dispenser, you can really see the difference in the player's essence counts right now. Turkey's going to have a little more flexibility in the end chapters of the game where he was able to keep that blaster, didn't opt into the E field. There's nothing wrong with picking up the SP dispenser here. It's especially useful for the remainder of this chapter. It's probably not as useful until you get the dash and you risk the idea that you just dumped in 50 essence and could potentially lose it between now and then or shortly after. But if you can hold on to it until you get the dash, then it's obviously extremely useful to take into the following chapter.
Exactly, and we now know that it is possible to get a big boost of essence with the Exos phase, so maybe it will save him if he can. We'll explain it later, but it's possible to get a lot of cash when we'll be on Exo. And that fast 2 cycle, just one hit. Fast cycle on SpaceNarc as well. He'll have to go around to get the sprint. Ooh, Turkey just took a death in the spikes in chapter 6. Chapter 6, you just get the sprint, so you use it a lot. The level is made for you to use it. There's big gaps. You have to use your sprint to get through these gaps. But the problem is, in the bottom of these gaps, it spikes. So if you miss your shot, it can be death just right there.
I think this can be one of the big deterrents for newer players and something that can make the run appear, I'll say, more punishing than it is, and I'll say that with the asterisk that I will fully admit and agree that the run can and will be punishing, especially when you are a newer runner. But I think that's also where the reward in the run comes from. It's kind of like a high stakes speed run, the fact that something can and will probably go wrong at any point in any stage, and there's going to be lots of times where you're like, you know what, that's never happened before. But at the same time, when it all comes together, it's such a satisfying speedrun.
Yeah, once you see your time and you're like, oh, really, this chapter only took me 5 minutes. That's crazy to think that it took me 2 hours on my casual run. It took me 15 minutes on my first runs, and now I'm just able to do it in 5 minutes if everything goes well. It's really a nice, it's really satisfaction when it happens. As Turkey is destroying this train, this tunnel cleaner. So this bus throws at you some bombs, and you use it against it. It's really big damage. when the blue bombs just hit the tunnel cleaner.
Parry's also putting in lots of work. You saw the small projectiles, the large projectile. You know, a big theme about the parry too is more things than you think you should be able to parry can be parried. Alpha 1's shockwaves, for example, can be parried. If you didn't catch it in SpaceNarc's fight against Alpha 2, he parried one of the... he spawns, like, Alpha 2 spawns those little tentacle eyeball purple things as enemies. You can actually... you can parry those before they become enemies as well. And he caught one of those. So it's... the game gives you lots of flexibility, which is also where the danger comes from.
Exactly. Everything that is not physics can be parried, I think. As Turkey is in chapter 7 against the knock-knocks, those doors that maybe makes more people than not curse against, because they can be really nasty. As SpaceNarc is against the tunnel cleaner. Nice parries. He'll get those bombs. Oh, some difficulties on the parries. It will be a slower fight.
Got another bomb immediately, which should help. Oh, left it just one shy, unfortunately. I was hoping that was going to end it. Ricky's going to pick up the free SP dispenser here. This is basically going to be the golden SP dispenser that we hope to keep for a long period of time. Not only is it going to be beneficial for extending our dashes and any general moveset that we want to use along the way, it's also a really great source to pad our essence if we can get it to the upcoming auto-scroller sections a little bit later. So the main name of the game at the moment is protect this SP dispenser at all costs. It's our best friend.
Exactly. It's possible to buy it at the end of chapter 7 if anything happens. You have the option to buy another one, but hopefully you carry this one until EXO. SpaceNarc going through chapter 7 pretty fast, slashing his way everywhere. As Turkey is in the second cyber room, so this one we have to do it
legitimately.
Yeah, you have to do it all the way through. You don't have any skips, and it opens the door to the dragon that will grant you one wish, and you wish for superpowers, so you will get a double jump and many upgrades for all your upgrades that you had through the game. So you have your shurikens that can become kunais. The pogo is wider. The flames can be longer if the raising fire can be longer. It goes all the way up to the screen, to the top of the screen.
Dash attack has like a little shadow. Has like an extra attack that happens afterwards, and there's like a blue image of shadow that remains when you do the attack, and it like does like an extra strike and damage.
Yeah, shadow of shadow that makes an extra hit. And you can charge your sword as well.
Which makes a big difference. Like charge attacks are very, very useful. I think it's maybe triple damage that they do, if I'm not mistaken. It's a lot. It's worthwhile.
Yeah, I think at the beginning you have a one-hit sword. After Mekacity again, you get your two-hit sword, and with a charge, it's a 3-hit if I'm not wrong. So Turkey now has 1 HP left on his dispenser. Try to keep it alive for the extra money. He doesn't really need it. He should be good to manage his essence, but it's always better to have some essence left. It's better than to have some essence left than missing some essence at the end. But ooh, nice save with the pogo.
Oh no. Okay, so
Oh,
remember that
put the
situation that
doors.
we just talked about a while back where the heart races and you could see the checkpoint in chapter 7?
Exactly. The checkpoint was right there, just beside that door.
uh It's
We can
those
see it.
flames too, those like pink or purple flames or whatever, just they hurt so much, they linger for so long and they just hang out. And the SP dispenser is definitely after the fact, especially that Turkey kept the blaster and has that extra deposit of essence as a result. But it's just one of those things that you kind of go, oh, hate to see it.
Yeah, exactly. As SpaceNarc is going to his dragon side to get his upgrades, Turkey gets the final cyber room that we'll see in that run, and it makes Exo alive, this friendly motorcycle. So this is the auto-scroller room. You have to watch out. The borders of the road, if you hit them, kill you. The spikes kill you. Everything kills you. But our runners know what they're doing. They know the path that they have to take. It should be all right on Turkey's side.
Those wondering the difference, going into the dragon to get our final set of power-ups, the difference between our runners is about 2.5 minutes.
As SpaceNarc is going into Chapter 8, he's fully upgraded. He'll slash everywhere, he'll dash everywhere. Nicely done on this section. Being able to pass before the big guy gets his shield up. Big guy that gives 3 SP if you kill his little guys and you don't have the dispenser. Always useful to get a nice SP on his little ball friends, if I may.
Alright, so we see SpaceNarc making it through that section without issue, so it's going to be able to pick up a little bit of time here pre-auto-scroller.
Exactly as he goes through his cyber room. Cyber rooms that it may not have, seem that big of a deal, but the room fades in. So I always forget what is the room that is coming in when you're going inside the cyber rooms, and I have always a little bit of hesitation. And sometimes if I want to be pretty fast because my run is going well, I just expect a room and it's not the good room that I was expecting, and the spikes are waiting for me right there. So just be a little careful when you come inside these cyber rooms. It may be costly if you don't exactly know what is coming on.
Shoutouts to everyone else that has just walked off the right ledge into those spikes, because I've done it.
Yeah. I think it's going right. I have to go right at the beginning, and you had to go left. Right was spikes. As Turkey really well managed his few last rooms, he doesn't have any SP. He pogoed his way on these rooms really well managed on his side without SP.
So yeah, really, Turkey's only concerns in terms of SP, the luxury would be after this section being able to buy the health refill. Not at all mandatory. Majority of the runners you'll see save and quit out or take an intentional death to get back to 5 health. So really, his only purchases in mind are very end game wants an SP dispenser, and ideally to start the fight off proper is going to want a full SP recovery, so that's 100. And then some runners do like to get the SP dispenser just before Combinatron as well, which is another 50. So 150 for the end of the run is kind of like comfy and in the norm. Any extra above and beyond that is just something that he can use to his benefit. We see SpaceNarc here getting some essence in the auto-scroller section, so it's going to be able to make up a little bit of the essence spent on the extra SP dispenser and the E-field.
Yeah, as we see, they have this about the same amount of essence, so just this section makes it up for it. Had 100 more spent, I think, with this dispenser. 100?
Yep.
Yeah, with the dispenser and the shield, he spent 100 more, but they're at the same amount for now. So, and he might be able to have. Nope, I didn't say anything. He won't be able to have more essence with the second EXO, but like I said, with 127 right now, it's really good for the end of the race. There shouldn't be any problem essence wise.
And of course, get those Fs in chat for the left exo.
Yep, left EXO that had an unfortunate fate. Let's hope that our right EXO will have a better fate. As we come in this room where Turkey is a big death loop for many people. When it goes bad, it looks like everything is going bad. Turkey had made a fast save and quit, so he took 5 HP back on his life bar. You begin this section with 1 HP. You can buy full HP for 50 essence, or you can save and quit or get a really fast death.
Whew.
To get your 5. He goes with it, 1 hit, and on the dispenser, and 1 hit left on his life as well.
And that's the reason for the save and quit. That room is just so deadly.
Exactly. So he keeps the dispenser. The longer you keep the dispenser, the faster it is, because you can dash at pretty much everywhere without having the consequences of losing SP. If you dash and kill an enemy, you get an SP back. But if you just dash like that, you lose that SP. But with the dispenser, it just remain full almost every time. So no worries SP wise as long as you have the dispenser. So you want to keep it as long as possible.
Whew.
Do not have to worry about it. He goes the downside. It's pretty risky.
I respect the hesitation. Like, knew he was not comfortable making that second one and dealing with the electricity, so just opted out of the fast cycle, which is better for keeping that SP dispenser.
As the right EXO had the same fate and is no longer with us. And Turkey is going to chapter 9 in a little bit. And chapter 9, when I get there, I'm always impressed. I'm look at my time. I'm like, alright, 2 chapters left. And I'm close to ending time. There's like 15 minutes left. I'm always, oh, these chapters, I'm going fast through them. It's crazy to think there's still 2 chapters. And we're almost at the end already, time-wise.
And I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it doesn't actually announce it as a final chapter during the section where like it would normally introduce chapters, but at the end of chapter 10, there's an extra fast travel teleport in the section before the climb. So, you know, whether you want to call that a little extension on chapter 10 or just something in and of itself, Turkey unfortunately losing the SP dispenser there could give at least a little bit of reason to why chapter 10 is a little more lengthy. You've got the Combinatron, you've got Spider Rail, and then you've got the climb followed by 3 bosses. Oh, no. Oh, okay. No Minesweeper.
That mine is real dangerous as well. I don't know how much damage they do, but usually they kill you.
The correct answer is a lot.
Yeah, exactly. As Turkey is on the boat, so he opts to go slash the enemies and not using the dash. I don't know if it's faster or it's just to not to get bored while being into the boat.
Might have been a little uncomfortable with the spacing because it got caught up on the right hand side and didn't maybe feel like he had the room for the dash attack, but shouldn't really make any difference. The dash attack will take out these enemies in one go. The charge slash will take out the blue ones in one go, but you need an extra slash on the pinkish purple guys.
As we get through the last enemies on the boat, we have two options. There's a fast boat, there's a slow boat. We don't know how it works exactly, but it happened. So let's see which boat it will be on Turkey's side. Ooh, that was a strange parry. As it seems to be a longboat.
That's your consequence for the parry swag and down stab at the end, is you get a little extra boat music.
Oh, dash kills slow down the game. So it may be faster to kill the enemies with the slashes and not the dash. As we have Combinatron, this guy will heal himself, but hopefully we won't see it here if you slash it pretty fast. I said it. So
not sure it's intentional too. Turkey actually bought both the SP full refill and the SP dispenser. Most runners I see only buy the dispenser here and don't necessarily opt for the full refill. But maybe is comfortable in the final fight without the full refill, or maybe he's thinking he's going to make up the 47 essence, but 47 essence between here and endgame is a lot.
I think there's two lamps that give a big SP, maybe 10 not SP but essence. So with two lamps we have 20 that make. There's one here, so you only have 36 left. There's another lamp somewhere else that give you essence, so there's like 25-ish more essence that he needs to get from enemies or crates.
Just happens on Narc's side for the boat. Make up a free 10 seconds. Gets a fast boat. Not that that's how you want to necessarily win a race or have it go, but...
You take every free time that you have.
Yeah.
So. As Turkey is going through this chapter pretty fast, he still have his dispenser, so he can dash pretty much everywhere without any consequences on his SPs. You just need to wait for these big doors to pass, and SpaceNarc has a longboat as well.
Well, at least it was fair.
As he'll go through the Combinatron. And we have Spider Rail on Turkey's side. If you manage your hit like you want to, his eye right now is open, so you can slash it pretty fast. The onion rings can be parry as well. Pretty nice fight on Turkey's side, as SpaceNarc is going to save and quick because Combinatron was healing himself.
You hate to see it, but I mean, again, it's happened to both runners once. Yes, once. Almost instantly regretted that.
As on Turkey's side, we are on the climb, final climb before the final boss. The more dangerous of these three climbing rooms is the first one. There's pretty much enemies everywhere that are aiming for you. The two other are not easy, but are way easier when you know where to go. And Turkey will go with only the dispenser. He had only money for this one, but he should be full SP while the text is going. So not a big deal. Even if he didn't have the money for the full SP, the SP refill.
It was a really clean operator. The back and forth was really nice. The chase down the left side was really good. Got down to less than half health before he left the screen, and then didn't even get away from the center.
Yep, I was looking to Turkey's stream earlier this week. He was practicing this bus, so recently big practice on the final bus. He will try probably to pogo at the end, the final form with dashes here. Like that, he's doing exactly what he wants to do. A little mistake here, but it's almost nothing. It's a pretty quick fight for the final boss.
Yeah, it doesn't really get much better than that. Like, collectively between all those faces, that was just spot on.
Exactly as SpaceNarc is going through Spider Rail. As we see, his eye is closed on SpaceNarc's side. So it's a little bit longer, but when he'll have the young rings, he'll just try to parry them and slash it right through Spider Rail. As we can call first G or pre-G on Turkey side. It's pretty much done for his run. Just formalize it, but it's pretty done. As SpaceNarc finish the spider rail, he'll go through the climb to get through to the final boss.
I love a lot of the intricacies of this game. Like, there's a lot of small details that we've learned along the way and probably think that we are still going to learn. Like the kunai explosion doing damage to Spider Rail with the closed eye. There's just so much depth that you don't immediately get.
Exactly, and good first room in the climb for SpaceNarc, as we have a GG on Turkey's side with an official time of 55:25. Excellent time, especially in a race. I don't think he could have wished for better.
No, I mean, a 55 in a race is absolutely phenomenal. Anything sub-hour in a race is just incredible, really. Like, the sub-hour is kind of that big barrier that we were all chasing for a while, and we're really kind of pushing is this even possible? And to see the growth of the game past that hour marker now is really, you just kind of have to appreciate it.
Exactly, as the first phase on SpaceNarc is done, we go on phase 2, where we get the progenitor. He's in his big machine. Wanna hit his case to open it. Fires. Rising fire is pretty useful. You get 3 or 4 hits as you do it. You can parry those little bullets, or go with more rising fire. That works as well. And he goes through the final phase of this final boss, getting the blue orb. The blue orb gives you a shield. The purple orb gives you more power, and the right orb that we probably won't see is the green one that gives you some platforms to get higher to hit Progenitor, or you can just use his button to get high enough.
And we've also been treated to the music glitch, which is not really too much of a treat because the soundtrack is awesome in this game, and the last boss is a little... it loses kind of some of that atmosphere without the tune going, but there we have it. Free G's in chat for SpaceNarc.
Exactly. Really nice time. It should be a sub-hour on his side as well. It's about a minute and a half from the final hit to the final time. So unless he sleeps, it should be a sub-hour.
Front to back, really great performance by both. We know SpaceNarc had that early death, and it was kind of chasing from that point, but made up time on Turkey in some parts, had a really respectable run. Looking at the splits, did bring it back from that start and saw green again. So it's overall, it's not going to be far from his PB as well. And, not out of this tournament either. Turkey's going to be moving on to the winners semifinals versus Mashia. And SpaceNarc is going to be getting bumped down into the lower bracket, but of course this is a double elimination tournament, so down but not out.
Exactly, you have to wait for the big K1 and 2C race to know who will be his opponent. We went, as we can say, the GG for SpaceNarc, as he finished with an official time of... he didn't click done.
That's okay.
About 58:30 around that time.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, at the end of the day, what, the results in race time are great to have, but I at least hit our end split here and we're good to go. We're gonna see about getting these guys in for a post-game interview as well, if they'd like to do that. There's Turkey. Good to bring him on over. Welcome, Turkey. Congratulations.
Oh, boy. That was a good run.
Your Mecha Dragon was quite good. Everything seemed to play out nicely and caught some really great nuances. Looked really comfy. Your first cycle was amazingly strong. How do you feel kind of front to back about the whole thing?
The easiest way I could put it is it's amazing how when you do a race or a marathon run, things that would normally never happen in a million years just kind of happen to you. In a way. The chapter 3 death, I was a bit disappointed myself at that one. I was like, okay, now I've really got to push down to catch back up on that. Then I had a kerfuffle in chapter 8 where I was just playing Dodge the Flame and the big red orb things for a while, and I don't know how that happened, but apart from a couple of those instances, I felt like I was performing at a genuine high level how I have been in what I'd consider my average, at least as of late. So it fits in well with that. So I'm perfectly fine with it. But just knowing it could have been a 54 in a race, it's a shame. But maybe next time, knowing my opponent, I might actually have to try and pull something like that off.
Yeah, fair. We were saying that congrats, you're going to move on to the winners semifinals against Mashia, so that is going to be one to watch for sure. You have both been bringing down your times throughout the course of the tournament and prior to and whatnot, along with some other runners as well. SpaceNarc, how did you feel about your run start to finish? We noticed you had that early death, which we said can kind of happen when it comes to race nerves or just when settling in. Looks like you settled in afterwards, and there were some points between then and later game where you did pick up some time on Turkey. How do you feel about the race today?
Yeah, it definitely started off rough, like you said, but I had to talk to myself a little bit, say it's fine, you lost less time than you thought you would for that, just keep going. And yeah, it smoothed out a bit. I was pretty good with chapter 2 and 3. Then Dragon does what Dragon does to me in races for some reason and just won't give me a 3 cycle. It absolutely won't. I don't know why. So yeah, after that, another thing I found that happened when I lost my shield. The only other time that's happened to me is actually in my race against Mini Sarango, where I fired the shield to get the first skip, then I strike the ground and slash to kill the second enemy, and the slash didn't kill him. And those only take 1 hit. And it happened to me in the last race, but at least I had more health on my shield at that point, but I lost my shield this time. That kind of sucked. And then the rest of the race, it was just kind of nickel and diming me for time. It wasn't too bad, but except for the death with Combinatron, or death, I reset because it's faster.
You both actually fell victim to that one. Turkey also unfortunately got the healing hands with, I believe it was 1 health left. So took a death. You opted for the save and quit. So I mean, 1-6 half dozen, right?
Yeah.
We had a lot of kind of like equal treatment moments. You both got longboat. You both had that same issue with Combinatron. You guys had a lot of things where it was like the same thing was happening over and over again. It was just very slightly apart. Congrats though, like a 58, I believe is what it shook out to, despite the race time, whatever.
Yeah, I forgot to hit.
And that's okay. It's totally fine. Yeah, that's still an extremely respectable race time, and I know you've really brought your time down over the last few races, or over the course of the tournament and the races and whatnot. So I mean, big congrats to you as well for that. Like we said earlier before you guys came in here, this is kind of a down but not out situation. You of course are going to get to take a little bit of a rest while you await your opponent and find out who that is. But both of you guys are still gonna be having another show.
Nice. Gonna need to rework Combinatron. I felt like I counted like 6 strikes I missed. I don't know what the hell happened to me at that point. Just all of a sudden I just kept mistiming everything. I was like, well, I'll be lucky if I get this one, and I didn't. So, as I shouldn't have, to be fair. So yeah, have to figure the kinks out before the next one. But yeah,
Awesome. Any final words from you, Eric?
GG Turkey.
GG Bird, good one.
You race a lot, but this was a good one for sure.
Indeed.
I'm glad your time was as fast as it was, because if it was a lot closer to mine, I would have felt a lot worse about my mistakes.
I had to fight for that 55 simply because I died in chapter 3 and lost about 45-50 seconds, I believe.
Ow.
And that was a death that shouldn't have happened. That was a hesitation moment. I believe I could have made that all the way through, but I hesitated, pulled back, and then just whoop, into the flame pits I go. It's like, oh, well done.
Alrighty.
But nah.
Well, thank you guys for racing as always. Thanks for participating in the tournament, and shout outs to Minnie as well for helping me with commentary today. I've dropped everyone's links in the chat as per usual, so make sure to go follow our runners. Regularly playing the game, going to be back here for more tournament goodness, and we have another race that's going to be happening tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Atlantic. So be sure to check that out as well, and take care until then. Thanks for hanging out all.
Thank you.